Hey everyone, in this video I'll be challenging myself to mix drums in 10 seconds, 1 minute, and 10 minutes. Now on the surface this may seem like a silly video topic, but in recording and production work there is often a time crunch even if you're not paying for the studio by the hour. Some clients can be very critical of their sound even when their performance is adequate, and we want to help them to get to that radio ready sound as soon as possible, or playlist ready sound I guess. And once the drummer has finished recording and they're coming into the control room to have a listen, well, you gotta work fast. Now I'm just gonna pause here and say the effectiveness of the drum mix all depends on the drum recording. I'm sure you've heard the phrase garbage in, garbage out. You're not gonna be able to achieve anything in a few minutes of mixing if your drums have not been recorded well. So really quick, here's 5 drum recording best practices. Number 1, tune your drums, okay? Do not settle for untuned drums. Save yourself the headache of trying to EQ out weird resonances and dipping all the drums because they don't really sound that good. No. You want drums that are in tune that you can have nice and loud and everything sounds great. Number 2, set up a drum bus before recording. This will allow you to control the overall volume of the drum set, which is really great if the drummer wants a little bit more volume in their headphones, and you still have control over all of the faders to make your fine adjustments while recording. But number 3, don't start with your faders yet. Use your preamps or your interface to get that rough gain structure going into your DAW. Number 4, check the phase between mics. You want to check the phase of your overheads and with your close mics against your overheads. So check your overheads against your snare and against your kick and all the others. Make sure that all of your microphones are working together to give you the best drum sound possible. And number 5, mix with the faders while you're recording to make those fine adjustments on the fly to get you closer to the finished product. And a bonus tip, number 6, don't be afraid of the mute button. While you're recording, if you find, hey, you know what, this song doesn't really need room mics, or I don't really need the hi-hat, mute that and focus on what's important to the core of the song. All right, so with all that out of the way, let's see what magic we can conjure up in these short time frames, starting with the 10-second challenge. But first, a quick word of the sponsor of today's video, DistroKid. DistroKid makes music distribution fun and easy with unlimited uploads, and artists keep 100% of their streaming royalties and revenues. Over 1 million artists rely on DistroKid to get their music onto Spotify, Apple Music, and all other major streaming platforms. And DistroKid makes it easy to add collaborators to your projects with credits. DistroKid can credit collaborators from any song or album and send that metadata to streaming services so that everyone involved in your music gets credit for their work on the project. Songwriters, musicians, producers, beat makers, designers, arrangers, studios, managers, drum techs, hairstylists, shoutouts and thank yous. If you can think of a role, there's likely a credit for them on DistroKid. You can add, edit, or reorder an unlimited amount of credits for every song, and credits is a completely free tool available to all DistroKid artists. So if you haven't already, you can use the link in the description to get 7% off your first year's subscription with DistroKid. Okay, here comes the drummer. We gotta act fast. We've only got 10 seconds to work some magic with the drums. Hope you made a drum bus. All right, let's tighten up those dynamics and add some glue with a bus compressor. We'll shorten the attack and release. Now we'll adjust the threshold for around 3 to 4 decibels of gain reduction. We'll add some makeup gain, and boom! That's how you get beefy drums in just 10 seconds. The song we're using for this challenge is called Patience, and it's written by artist Lexine. It's off a record that I produced, recorded, and mixed that comes out in September. It's called Burnout. All right, the drummer's on a quick break and we've got 1 minute. Let's do this. Now, because we've only got 1 minute to mix the drums, you'll have to prioritize the most essential tasks to get the most significant impact on the overall drum sound. Hopefully you've been adjusting faders to get a rough balance going in. So we'll apply some bus compression and saturation to glue the drum sounds together and add a little bit of chaos. Now, in order to get this done in such a short time frame, I actually went ahead and put in all my plugins first and then tweaked them after. I'm gonna start by focusing on the kick and snare with a little bit of EQ. Okay, so we're gonna use a slight boost to emphasize the kick's low-end fundamental, usually around 60 to 100 hertz. And if needed, you can add some clarity to the attack around 2 to 4K. But be careful with this, it's really easy to overdo the point of the kick's attack. We just wanna give it some presence outside of the low end so that it can cut through a dense mix. Next, we'll listen to the snare. Play with the balance of the top and bottom mics before adding EQ. On the bottom mic, you can find a lot of the snare wire sizzle around 5 to 8K, and if needed, filter out some low-end bleed from the other drums. Enhance the body of the drum around 150 to 400 hertz and balance that with the attack around 1 to 2K. And finally, if there's time remaining, go over with a quick fader balance. And there you have it, we aced the 1-minute drum mixing challenge. So by prioritizing these tasks, you can quickly achieve a decent drum sound that lays the foundation for the rest of the mix and keeps the drummer happy. Remember that this is still a huge time constraint that will limit the level of detail that you can go into. As an exercise, it forces you to be decisive and commit to your decisions. All right, now we're talking. The drummer is on a well-deserved coffee break, and we've got 10 minutes to work our drum masterpiece. Let's get started and give some love to the individual tracks. I'm going to start by balancing the drum levels against the overheads. So turn your overheads up and turn down all of the other close mics. Listen to the stereo field of the overheads. So we're going to solo our overheads, and we're going to listen to the stereo field of the drums, and we're going to add in the spot mics, one at a time, finding that sweet spot in the overhead stereo field. And just like before, we're going to use some simple EQ adjustments to emphasize the kick's low-end fundamental and add some clarity and punch around 2 to 4K.
Patience to just be me. Have some patience, please.
We'll also add the same basic EQ to the snare, enhancing the body and the snap and attack of the drum.
Patience to just be me. Have some patience, please.
Because we have some extra time, we can also go through and check if there's any noticeable issues in the toms. And I usually like to cut around 500 hertz, get rid of that muddy, papery sound. And you can do a bit of a boost similar to a kick drum, boosting the attack in the high end and some low end for that oomph of the tom. We're also going to quickly balance the overhead to the room mic tracks and the rest of the close mics to add some depth and ambience to the drum sound. And again, I'm going to go in and add some bus processing, our bus compression, and some saturation. For this one, I'm going to go in and I'm going to use Decapitator. I'm going to tweak it a little bit more and make it a bit more subtle. And we're also going to send the snare and the toms to some reverb. So we've got a 4-second reverb here with a little bit of pre-delay. It's quite a long decay time, but it works for this nice halftime drum beat played by drummer James Coumarin. The reverb adds a nice ambient decay to the snare and the toms when they come in during the bridge. Remember that time is limited in this scenario, so focus on making broad strokes that improve the overall drum sound. Don't get lost chasing fine details. Instead, aim to make that basic drum mix that is going to lay the foundation for the rest of the mix. So trust your instincts and your experience and try and make the most of the limited time available. These time constraints require you to think on your feet and find solutions to audio problems more effectively. This enhances your problem-solving skills and encourages creative thinking to achieve your desired result within the limited time frame. In professional audio environments, quick turnarounds are common. By practicing time-based challenges, you gain realistic experience and become better prepared for fast-paced recording sessions or time-critical projects like live events. So let's hear the difference between a 10-second, 1 minute, and 10-minute drum mix.
'Cause I need some patience, patience to just be. Have some patience, please, please.
Working under time pressure helps you to develop the ability to manage stress and maintain composure. Learning to stay focused and calm during time-based challenges prepares you for those high-pressure situations. Hey, so what did you think of the 3 mixes? Let me know down in the comments, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this one. Thank you very much for watching, and thank you to DistroKid for your continued support of the channel. Until next time, happy mixing.
Maybe it's time I walk away. Can't save you from myself